Okay, I had to stop the other video because it won't let me upload it to YouTube if I go too long. So I wanted to make sure I didn't make it too long. Okay, so this was dividing, okay? Oh, the only difference is you have to flip the second fraction using what's called the reciprocal. And again, make sure, especially when you're on My Math Lab, make sure how they want the answer. Make sure if it said in simplest form that you're going to the mixed number and not the improper fraction. Okay, so now a little bit harder is adding and subtracting, because when you add and subtract, you have to have the same denominator. So when you have the same denominator, you just add the numerators, the denominator stays the same, or you subtract, whether you're adding or subtracting. It's when they don't have. So these both have the same denominator, so you just add 1 plus 3, that's 4. The 8 doesn't change, so 4 over 8 becomes 1/2. For here, you're going to subtract. 19 minus 5 is 14, and then you see they reduced it. So if it has the same denominator, very easy, you just subtracting or adding the numerators, don't change the denominator, reduce the fraction. Now it becomes trickier if the denominators are different. And why they threw in the fundamental law of rational numbers is that if I multiply it by the same number top and bottom, which is essentially 1, I get what's called an equivalent fraction, because anything over itself is 1. So if you multiply something by 1, you get itself. So this is considered an equivalent fraction. So that's what we do to get a common denominator. So when you're adding or subtracting two fractions with unlike denominators, first rewrite each fraction with a common denominator, then you add or subtract. So you can't just subtract 13 over 5 minus 5 over 6. You have to multiply this by 2 over 2, which becomes 26 over 30. The second one by 5 over 5, which becomes 25 over 30. And then you can subtract, and it becomes 1 over 30. Okay? So this is what I want to see on the homework. Okay? I know you can't show it to me on the My Math Lab, but I do want to see it on the homework on how you got the common denominator, not that you're just throwing it in your calculator. Okay? So let's say I had, for example, 1 over 54, and I'm going to add 1 over 90. So their common multiple between them is 270. So I multiplied this by 5 over 5, and it became 5 over 270. And I multiplied this by 3 over 3, and this became 3 over 270. So when I added, I got 8 over 270. And then I reduced, and I got 4 over 135. So here's the thing. If you just throw this in your calculator, so let's say I just do it in my calculator. And so you could check it if you want to. 1 over 54 plus 1 over 90. This calculator gives me a fraction, but then if I hit math, enter, and you can pretty much download these right now, I get 4 over 135. So I can double check it, but I want to see this again on the homework. And you can download, that's a TI-84 calculator. What I did was download it onto my computer. Okay, so let me just try another one. So let's say it was 13 over 15, and I'm going to subtract 14 over 45. Now, the reason I wanted to show you this one is you don't necessarily have to change both fractions. So all I have to do is multiply this one by 3 over 3, and I get 39 over 45. But I don't have to change the second one because it already's got the 45. So now I'm just going to subtract. I'm going to get 25 over 45. And that's going to give me 5 over 9. Okay, so when you don't have the same denominator, you got to get the same denominator and then either subtract or divide. And then you could always check it in your calculator, make sure you get the right answer. But I want to see this, especially on the homework. Otherwise, you're not going to get credit for it. Okay, so that's section 2.